so there are items that are beyond their life expectancy at this point.
Yeah.
The track is delaminating from the asphalt below it, and it's getting to a point where it's a safety issue for our students.
The bleachers, there will be some sort of better improved weather-resistant
There'll be
materials,
aluminum,
I'm sure.
Yes, aluminum bleachers. And again, the goal of that is to provide fans with a separate seating area so that we can, again, going back to safety concerns, we have a lot of
Yeah,
people.
riot control, okay.
Exactly. Saying in a small area,
Yeah.
which is a concern.
Unfortunately, I shouldn't joke about that. in
No,
today's
but
world, yeah,
you're
really.
accurate. That's,
Yes, well, I don't think I have anything else on that then. Anyone else does?
Anyone else from the public?
Ask him if that's bid.
You're welcome.
Ask him if that was bid.
Mr. Lazoric was wondering, did you have a bid regarding the work that we're talking about?
well, what is the program called that you went through? Is it-
It's TIPS, it's right in the,
TIPS.
yeah, interlocal purchasing system.
I'm sorry,
It's a cooperative purchasing network that we're using, so it didn't go out to a formal bid. It's called the interlocal purchasing system, and things are already bid throughout the states, and this one is a national program. So
Okay.
it's pre-bid items that allows us to do the project without having to do formal bids on our own.
So the companies that use must qualify to be a part of that system so that we can access their services.
is that something that we've used before in the district, that company? Is that something that we use on a regular basis?
TIPS, it's a program, it's not a company. It's a program that's national. This is the first time that we are using that particular program, but we have, over the years, used many different cooperative purchasing programs.
It's very similar, Pete, to when you were township supervisor.
I was just
You
gonna
did
ask,
piggyback
is that
pro-
is
very
that similar to the
that, where
CoStarz
townships,
program?
School districts
Correct.
bind
Yes.
together.
Is it the
To get the
CoStarz
best
It's
program?
not co-stars, but it's
It's a
operating
similar,
very similar.
yeah. I wasn't sure if the school district was able to participate in the CoStarz program.
We are, and we do purchasing through the CoStarz program for various projects or
Yeah.
supplies, things that we need.
I thought they were by
Yes,
law,
we
they
do.
were able to do that, but I just wanted to verify that.
Anyone
you.
else from the public? Okay.
I had a couple of questions, please. When we were talking in the committee meetings, I had some questions from families because you guys have the microphones up front during your, or the audio
No, we
is,
don't have any microphones.
the audio is much better on the tapes when you're listening to you guys up there. I don't know why, but when you're in this part of the
Oh,
room,
probably in the circle.
somebody, they've really been having a hard time hearing, so when you're going through details, like budgets and numbers, and especially if more than one person happens to be having a discussion, it's very garbled. So that was one of the concerns they had. Was there a possibility that you could have a microphone there during your round tables so that they could hear everything a little bit clearer? It doesn't happen when you're up at the front desk like that.
Okay.
That's not the thing. The other question that I had is, I was able to get the report, I got the report that I had requested from, about Mr. Adams' work done here. Was there a reason that we didn't use Mr. Adams when you were doing this particular project like you did in the past, where he had his presentations when we were doing all the other renovations? Was there a difference in the company you were using that you couldn't get a presentation for the public like we used to have?
Well, it was a different process, as Ms. Emmett was just discussing, going through the TIPS program.
So that prevents us from having a presentation prior to voting on the,
No, we had several presentations.
no, I mean like the ones that you used to have, the ones where you had it up on the wall and we could see the information, like the gentlemen were asking about, what are you using, where is it going? What the cost will be for that part, estimated cost will be for that part.
He
I know-
did hand out a packet, but
We didn't have it on the wall,
Wall.
Right, no,
I
I
don't
mean.
know
but
if
we
he
did
just
discuss
didn't
all
have that
of those
capable.
items and details and reasoning. behind it.
Right, but
But
that, you know what I'm
so-
talking about, when Mr. Adams did all of that, and I see that Mr. Adams has been
I
doing
believe that was
some,
actually the company that we worked with.
CM3 did it, right. Yeah, but when he was at that time frame, when he was still the superintendent, because that was very beneficial for everybody to be able to see. It cleared up a lot of questions and concerns about where all the money was going, what specific items were going to be used for. There was a lot of transparency when that, and you all were asking questions, so very often the questions that the people in the audience had were answered as you were going through your packets of information that you can see but we can't. So when that was up there, that was a very beneficial part of that whole process, and that was a lot bigger.
I think that was a much more comprehensive
That was a
project.
much bigger
This
process.
project, I don't think they needed a presentation because you're just replacing the track surface, you're replacing turf. You're putting bleachers in and you're putting new lights in.
Any,
That project with Mr. Adams was very comprehensive, district-wide. So I think that's why that
a
happened.
lot of districts have a ceiling for transparency.
Yeah, and we are a very transparent district,
Right.
Doctor.
And-
We have started talking about this project in March of last year.
You did.
Everything has been very transparent. We do everything by the book.
I-
Members of the public are allowed to come to any work session they
They
want
are.
to.
They are.
We talk freely about it. We are very transparent and we do it by the book and by the rule of law.
Well, the problem that I'm asking for us to consider is how we can make sure that we have the same level of visual accuracy that was provided with the very large project for projects that would exceed
So it's my
smaller.
understanding you videotape every
Yes.
meeting and you
Yes.
videotape every work session.
But I can't videotape what they're
Right.
looking at.
And I know
The-
you requested that the numbers be put out before.
I did.
As you know, until they've worked it through, the numbers were a moving target.
Estimates. They were
And
estimates.
also, tonight, if this motion is read and it's
Mhm.
voted down,
Right,
it won't happen.
correct.
So putting that stuff out there with numbers can misinform the public that they think we're already going forward with the project.
You guys are
Once the
very
minute-
articulate, though.
Once we go through the agenda tonight and the meeting's over, we have a very, very comprehensive website that
After,
puts our minutes on it with
Yeah.
all of the information.
after everything's
After
already,
it's approved.
right.
Because
So-
it may not be approved tonight,
right.
right?
So before you give a contractor your money, if you have a personal project, you don't simply hand them a check and say, here's the money that you're going to spend, let me know at the end of the project what you did. You do it before. You go
Which we
through the
did several
numbers, you go
times.
through the
Dr. Johnson,
ideas.
If I may interrupt, we're always looking to be as transparent as possible.
Good.
And we'll consider any option that we can do to
Great.
improve our communication.
I think that would
community,
be wonderful.
And we'll move on from there.
Okay, I think that's a wonderful thing, and I totally understand what you're talking about, estimates. We have several gentlemen here that work with estimates on a regular basis as part of their business. It's not a new concept we're doing. If I could then just say that in the process of changing your original loan, is there an extra duration paying interest on the borrowed money as you reorganize that?
It was-
But we would extend that.
Wait, right,
6 months.
it's
So
not
when you-
that.
when you
So
extend
the
it
amount
to-
of money we're paying over the years is the same amount, but it did bring the borrowing out. I
Right.
think it was additional year and a half, but I don't have the figures in
Okay.
front of me to be
So
sure.
during that additional year and a half, there would be interest
There's
accrued.
interest that's being paid along the way
Okay.
currently.
So the total amount that you're paying is a better deal for you, but is there extra interest that we pay by having the loan extended?
Extra in what sense?
So if you pay your loan off early, you don't have to pay the interest that you would have if you take out a 24-month loan, and if you pay it off in a year, you haven't paid that extra year of interest. Is that the same type of loan extension we had? that you
No,
pay
it was
interest during the time?
refinancing that we did, so
Mhm.
we took a note that we had, and the rate at the time of the note was 3.35%.
Okay.
We refinanced that note, and we did that with a bond, and by refinancing, we also borrowed the extra $2.5 million for these various projects.
Right,
The interest rates on the bonds that we did were 2% or below.
mhm,
So that savings really helped us to be able to do that, save on the refinancing, and then borrow the additional money.
okay,
But each year of the payments of the bonds, it's level debt. So we are paying the same amount of money out for our bonds. It's just that this, I think it was 2025 was the year we would have been finished
Right.
under the old, and it's 2026 and a half or something like that of the
So-
new borrowing. So it extended the time frame of
but without
the payments.
increasing the cost to the district at the end of the process.
Yes.
All right, thank
And
you.
I'm sorry, one other question. The money that is left over,
I'm
the
sorry?
money that you have left over from this project, are there, because you have this listed, are you planning on doing other items? Are you still talking about doing other items?
Yes, and we'll continue on that and work sessions.
Great.
Okay,
And will
and
that, and will
be
that
sure.
be available for us to,
At the work session, it will be, yes.
When it's
So,
being discussed.
right.
okay.
Okay, at this time, thank you from the public. We are going to move on. The enrollment report is there for you. May I please have a motion for number 12, please?
I recommend that the Board of Education approve an agreement with the Global Water Ltd. for monthly engineering services related to an evergreen water recycling system at a rate of $950 per month, 10 hours per month. Any additional hours over 10 hours per month will be charged at a rate of $95 per hour, plus travel expenses when needed, effective January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Mr. Ensland and then seconded by Mr. Hook. Are there any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. And any abstaining? That motion does pass. A motion for 13, please. I recommend that the Board of Education approve the E-rating funding application as follows. A, Category 1 is to renew the building interconnections of Evergreen and R.D. Wilson Elementary School contracts with Adams Cable. Contract duration is for 3 years. If awarded, the E-rate funding will cover approximately $1,216 of the $1,520 monthly contract, contingent upon receiving the E-rate funding. Total of $304 monthly owed by Western Wayne to Adams Cable. Category 2, allow the technology department to apply for E-rate funding to purchase network equipment. If awarded, E-rate funding will cover approximately $14,574.40 of the $18,218 cost of the equipment. The final purchase will be contingent on receiving the E-rate funding, which will total $3,643.60, which will be owed by Western Wayne.
Second.
Motion was made by myself and then seconded by Mr. Gershi. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. And any abstaining? That motion does pass. Could we have a motion for 14, please?
I move that the Board of Education give the business manager permission to close a small general fund savings account at MDT Bank, move the funds to a general fund account at HMP. The account currently totals $2,876.88 and has been inactive for years.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Mr. Gambita and then seconded by Mr. Hoke. Again, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Any abstaining? That motion does pass. A motion for 15, please.
I move that the Board of Education give the business manager permission to generate a purchase order to DELUXE Athletics through the interlocal purchasing system, TIPS, for the following project scope of work with respect to pricing. Total contract price for these items is $1,566,025. Remove and replace existing track surface, $189,330. Remove and replace existing synthetic turf, $634. $1,985. Furnish and install new 500-seat visitor bleachers, $226,095. Stadium lighting conversion to LED lighting, including demolition of existing system and installation of new system, $515,615. These totals do not include permitting, engineering, and/or testing fees. We continue to work on storage options, which will be presented at a later date for board approval.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Wood and seconded by Mr. Gregolski. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Any abstaining? That motion does pass. A motion for 16, please.
I move that the Board of Education approve the following list of Western Maine School District transportation drivers and substitutes for the listed contractors for the 2019-20 school year as follows, contingent upon receipt of necessary paperwork. Contractor Yasansky Busing LLC, driver Alicia McCarthy. Contractor Teresa Pappas, driver Erica Torres.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Gregolski and then seconded by Mr. Gambita. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. And any abstaining? That motion does pass. A motion for 17, please.
I move that the board approves the recommendation of the superintendent and district administrators in the following appointment. Eric Olsomer, long-term substitute, technology education, step 1B, $51,123 prorated, with applicable fringe benefits effective October 2nd, 2019, with the end date not to exceed the end of the 2019-20 school year.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Mr. Gershi and seconded by Mr. Hoke. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. And any abstaining? That motion does pass. A motion for 17B, please. I recommend that the Board of Education approve the following personnel to be added to the district substitute list for the 2019-2020 school year per certification. Act 24, 34, 151, 114, 153, and 168 guidelines. Employment eligibility verification in the U.S. Department of Justice. We have Tamara Hodorowitz, area secretary and teacher's aide, and we are going to remove Summer Klickus per request received 1/21/20.
Second.
Motion was made by myself and then seconded by Mr. Gershi. Are there any questions on that one? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. And any abstaining? That motion does pass. A motion for 17C, please.
I recommend the Board of Education approve the salary adjustment to wrestling cheerleading coach Paula Herzog for a partial year due to season ending at 8 weeks. Ms. Herzog will be compensated for 8 of 13 weeks at $2,263.81 of the $3,681 coaching stipend.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Ensland and then seconded by Jeff, Mr. Gregolski. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Any abstaining? That motion does pass. Could we have a motion for 17D, please?
I move that the board appoint the following to the list of coaching positions for the 2019-20 school year at the salary listed in the professional employees contract, contingent upon receipt of clearances. Rick Ferraro, baseball assistant, second year, $3,107. Chelsea Frazier, softball assistant, third year, $3,177.14. And Glenn Fiorella, softball, junior high, first year, $3,507.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Mr. Gershi and then seconded by Mr. Hoke. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. And any abstaining? I will abstain from that one. The motion does pass. A motion for 17E, please.
The Board of Education appoint the following to the listed advisory position for the 2019-2020 school year at the salary listed in the professional employees contract. 1, Victoria Bartoloma, varsity club advisor, $4,774. Chris Kovaleski, musical technical director, $770. Chelsea Robbins, musical set construction, $770.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Gambita and then seconded by Mr. Gershi. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Any abstaining? That motion does pass. 18, we have some informational dates coming up there. February 7th, Evergreen is the VIP presentation. February 11th, Evergreen PTA meeting at 7 p.m. February 12th is the R.D. Wilson Art and Authors Day for grade 1 at 1 o'clock. February 13th, the middle school assembly with Trooper Urban. February 13th through the 15th, we have PMEA District 9 Band, Montrose Area High School. February 14th, the middle school PBIS Minute to Win It. February 14th, Act 80 Day, it's a student's noon dismissal. February 17th, there is no school, it's President's Day. On the 27th, R.D. Wilson has their PTA meeting at 6:30 p.m. in the library. On the 27th is middle school game night after school to the late bus. And on the 27th through the 29th, we have the PMEA Regional Chorus at the Wyoming Seminary. We also have pre-kindergarten and kindergarten registration for the Western Wayne School District, which will be held the week of March 23rd in the Robert D. Wilson and the Evergreen Elementary Schools. We have a student intern from Marywood University, Samantha Compton, student trainer, second semester, Troy Orlowski is the trainer. 19, we have any correspondence? Superintendent's reports, any questions? Assistant superintendent's report? Any principal's report? Any federal programs report? Okay. Other business, I just have one thing and you have to forgive me. December I was not here and last month I forgot. So I had an individual send me a letter for our operation of ELF, and if it's okay, I would like to read it. It says, Dear Mrs. Fiorella, Dr. Barrett, and the Western Wayne School Board. Now that the busyness of the holiday season is over, I would like to take a moment to recognize some of the outstanding members of our Wildcat community. In December, our social worker, guidance staff, and office staff in the middle and high schools put together a list of students and family that needed a little support over the holiday season. This list was comprised of 35 names, and it was affectionately nicknamed Operation ELF. Staff members quickly spoke to those students and put together a list. These students were asked for basic items so that many of them, basic items that so many of us take for granted. They asked for food, socks, a couple of new shirts to wear, a coat, and a gift card to AutoZone so a student get her car working to make it work to run the school. We reached out to our Wildcat community, board members, administration, our staff, our district office, Wayne County commissioners, and our friends and our family. With an anonymous wishes, our community answered the call for assistance with enthusiasm, cheerfulness, and a generous spirit. These families had their needs addressed and then some. One group went far beyond what was asked for and treated one of our families to a day at Kalahari, a much-needed day to be together as a family. There were also dozens of food baskets were distributed to families in our community. Words fail to capture the deep gratitude I have for this great community. To hear parents, staff, SROs, and others continually say, just tell me what they need, we'll get it taken care of, was such a humbling and moving experience. Our guidance staff helped distribute the gifts, and reactions from the recipients were filled with overwhelming gratitude and emotion. They heard things like, we can't thank you enough. You have no idea how much this has helped. Can I put these sneakers on? I need them for gym. And we've had such a hard year, this is such a blessing. I will never forget one middle school student inquiring the day before Christmas break, not about the gifts, but the concern for